this is Elizabeth with the Silver Scissor Sews, and I'm here to talk to you about stitching. It's been a long time. I've been on 2 vacations since last time. It's been over a month. I can't remember exactly when it was, but my friends and I all turned 40 this year, and we usually go out of town every September, and we go up to Park City, Utah, which is kind of up in the mountains. It's where the Sundance Film Festival is. I rent a condo, but we decided since we were turning 40, we were going to do a bigger trip. So we went to California and rented a beach house together, and it was a lot of fun. And then this last weekend, my oldest is on the mountain biking team at his school, and they had their state championships, and it was down in St. George, Utah, which is very southern Utah, right by the Nevada border. Well, right by the Arizona border, but if you're going to Las Vegas, it's on the way there. Anyway, so we have been gone all weekend, and I haven't shown you very much of my stitching for a long time. I've been mostly working on one project because I started thinking, as soon as it hit October, I was like, gotta get stuff done for Halloween, and kind of freaking out about that, about not getting it done. I'll talk to you more about that later. Let's see. I have a whole bunch of things to show you that are previous finishes. There's some Halloween things that I've made in the past. I think I said before that I have been cross-stitching since I was about 8 years old, I think. And my mom had bought me a kit for Christmas, or maybe it was Santa, I don't remember. A kit for Christmas that you ironed onto muslin, the pattern, and then stitched over it. And so that was my first one, and then we would always go camping with my cousins in the summer, and my aunt would show us how to do cross stitch, and so it always made me want to do it. So I always had something going, and I don't have anything from when I was growing up. I cannot find the little butterfly from that very first kit that I did. I know I showed on Instagram something that I did as a teenager that is hanging in my parents' bathroom, and maybe I'll have to still it back and see if they even notice one day when I'm there and show it to you guys. There are a couple of things from their house I'd like to show. My mom is not crafty at all. She just does not like to. But there are some things that her grandmothers have made. There's one that is, the words are cross-stitched, and then it's got like embroidery around it as well, that is hanging in their hall. And in fact, I asked her the other day who cross-stitched it, and she said that it was her grandma. And I was like, well, which grandma? And she told me the one that she thought it was, but it's kind of a Christian religious piece, and they were Jewish, so I don't really know that my mom knows who did it. So she was thinking it was her mom, and her mom was Jewish. But maybe they figured maybe she did it for my aunt, or for her, or for my uncle when they were little, and so she did a Christian one because it was for them. I don't know. And then she's also got these pillowcases that are embroidered, and I don't know if she knows which grandma did those either. I'll have to talk to her more about that, and see if I can bring some to show you. I'm in my living room. The last couple times I have made a floss tube in my bedroom because it seemed like I was getting the best sound there. I know there was one time where I recorded it straight onto YouTube, and it was horrible sound. I felt really bad. I think I've deleted that one now, actually. I think it was number 3 or number 2, one of them. Anyway, but my husband is home with the man flu up in our bedroom. I may not get in there anytime soon to do it up there. So we're doing it from my living room. I have an undecorated wall behind me, and it kind of drives me crazy. We redid our house last year. We moved our kitchen to another space. We had a teeny tiny kitchen. We have 5 kids. And the kitchen was kind of in a spot where it was like the hall to the whole rest of the house. And so I had kids running through there, and it was tiny to begin with. And so we actually knocked out our formal dining room and made the kitchen in there. And then the eating area is where the kitchen used to be. And then we also, while we were at it, we had no overhead lights in this room, so we had them put those in. And so I took everything off the walls then, and I haven't put them back up because I decided I wanted something else. My husband is making me some floating shelves. If you've seen the Shanty to Chic site, there's a whole bunch of DIY projects, and he's making me the floating shelves for in there. he bought this stuff like 2 weeks ago, and I don't have them done yet. So hopefully soon those will be done. Hopefully next time I'll have shelves to show you in here. We'll see. So it's kind of a blank right now. I've got stuff on my piano over there. I took everything out of my hutch. You can't see it, but it's just right there. And I have put my plates away, my china and stuff, put it away for the remodel. And I have never put them back. But this is my formal living room that I'm in, and we have a family room in another part of the house, and it is more decorated than this. But my kids are supposed to be cleaning their room right now, and then they'll be done, and I think they'll be in there probably when they're done. So anyway, I have been stitching for a long, long time. So it would really be like 32 years if I was 8. I was around that age. I'm not sure when. And but I've kind of done other hobbies in like stitch for a while, kind of work on some other things, and always gotten back to stitching. So I have some of my embroidery to show you. It's probably about the time I first got married, maybe. I did some embroidery. I'm looking. Ooh, this is an early one. Okay, I've got a whole pile here. Anyway, I did some embroidery, and I tried a punch needle. I'll show you that. I'll tell you what I liked and didn't like about it. Anyway, so embroidery was really, really big for a while around here. And so I have some things from that. And then I've tried, there's a a cross stitch program called, I think it's called PC Stitch. I think. I'll have to look that up. Anyway, you could scan in a picture that you wanted, and it would print you up a cross stitch chart. So there are a couple things, I'm not sure if any of these are them. I cannot remember which things are which. But things that I have done in the past, and some of them are things that I have made up. So I'll tell you if I know it was that, or if I know it for sure was not. But okay, this is one that I made. I vaguely remember making this one. This is like a leaflet one. This is on Ada, and I don't know what count that would be. But Merry Christmas and Different Santas. And I know that I was married when I made this. And I know which house we lived in. I can picture myself sitting there on my plaid couch at the time, my red, white, and blue plaid couch, and stitched this. And so at the time, I did not know about specific cross-stitch stores. So I just got kind of whatever the local cross-stitch stores had. There was a store in Bountiful, Utah that was called Max, and they had a huge, huge cross-stitch aisle. I don't know if cross-stitching was just a bigger deal then or what, but it's probably just a leaflet that I had. I have one, and I cannot find it, that I started making, and I probably got it when I was 11 or 12, and it was this huge leaflet, and I've never finished it, but I would like it now. I have no idea what happened to it, but it was one that I bought there too, and it was like of a front porch and quilting or something. I don't remember exactly. So anyway, that's one of the cross stitches that I did. I had a book that had a cross stitch pattern for each holiday. So this is a pillow cover. When I do make my things into pillows, I like to make it into a pillow cover because I feel like the pillow form is not as lumpy as a pillow cover, and I can reuse it for different seasons. And actually, as I'm looking, it looks like I was supposed to stuff it, and I never did. But most of the time I make it so I can put it over a pillow form, and then I don't have to have a lot. And I'll put it like a zipper or something in the back so I can just easily put it on. So this was the Valentine's one. My kids are supposed to be cleaning their room, and I feel like not a lot of cleaning is supposed to be done. My 6-year-old and 4-year-old are home right now because we have morning kindergarten, and then my daughter doesn't have preschool on Mondays. So they are here, and they are a little bit crazy. Let me tell you about my daughter really quick. So we went on this trip this last weekend, and before we left, I had packed all of her stuff in her little backpack, and she was ready to go, and then a while later I walked past it again, but the stuff was on the floor. So I told her that she had to put it back in. Well, I made the mistake of not checking. And when we got there, I was helping her look for her pajamas in the backpack. She had brought one nightgown, a pair of pajama bottoms, a ballet tutu, and her Christmas dress from last year, and quite a few pairs of underwear, and a swimming suit, and one pair of jeans. That was it for like a 5-day trip. So, because everybody obviously needs a tutu when they're out in the middle of the desert. We went hiking at Zion's National Park. Yeah, so that's what she had. So we ran to Walmart and bought her another pair of jeans so she could hike around, and then she wore the same shirt that she had been wearing the whole time. We actually bought her another outfit too that came with a shirt and pants, so she did have one change of shirt. But yeah, so moral of the story, don't tell your 4-year-old to put their stuff back in their backpack because they may switch it out. Anyway, just a little side note. This is my Easter one that I did, and obviously I've never done anything with these. And oh, and did you notice the tape? Let me tell you this. So I used to tape all my edges on these, you can see them. I tried to peel it off, and it's kind of old and brittle. It kind of comes, but some of the parts stick and some parts leave a goop. So it may, if I frame it myself, but really it hasn't been framed in 15 plus years. So, but if I do, I may just cut that part off because it's kind of ridiculous. Okay, this is an Easter one I made, and this one is not from that same book. And it just says, Happy Easter Time. And this fabric, I used to just tea dye it myself and then bake it in my oven. I don't do a lot of it anymore because it kind of reminds me of stitching from 20 years ago. So I haven't done it as much. I'm kind of ready for new stuff now, a new style. This is one that I obviously didn't finish, and this is not on muslin. This is like a quilted something. This is a little summer watermelon, and didn't finish. This is another Valentine's one. I'm not sure where this pattern came from. But I did it a lot. I kind of have always liked to just stitch for stitching's sake. And so a lot of them never got finished because I just wanted to stitch. And so I was moving on to the next thing. There was one, maybe I didn't bring that up after all. Here's a little nativity one. I had another one that I was going to show you that was the stitching for stitching's sake type. And it was like a wagon with a chicken in it and some other, like a birdhouse and a quilt or something. That it was downstairs and I just barely had it in my hands. I must have not brought it up. But it is not my taste. And it wasn't really my taste back then, but I think it was just one of those things that I wanted to stitch something. So I grabbed a chart at the craft store, and I think it's finished, I think. I don't have the little booklet that it was in, so I don't know. But I do like to just stitch for stitching's sake, and obviously that's how this is. So for a while it was popular to color in your embroidery after you had done it. So that's what this is. Definitely not my taste now. It's funny to see how tastes change over the years. This is the one and only punch needle I have ever done. And I remember I did it not too long after my son was born, my oldest, who's 15 now. And I didn't love it. And I know how, have you guys seen how, if you watch Priscilla and Chelsea, they have that big frame that kind of has like it has legs kind of that it's standing on, so because you can't punch right onto your lap because you'll hurt yourself, you'll stab yourself. But so what I did for this one is I used my regular embroidery hoop that I use for cross stitch, put it on it, and then I stuck a bowl under, just like probably a cereal bowl or something, or a smaller mixing bowl, and then just punched it down into that so that I wasn't stabbing my legs each time. But anyway, and it's not that I didn't like doing it. I just never did another one. I think I just like cross stitching better. So I've always gone back to that, and I've obviously never done anything with this. Okay, really remember what this pattern is or where I got it from, and it looks like it's maybe not finished. I don't know if it's supposed to, I feel like it should have another row of lights down here, but it's just a little Christmas sampler, and it is on Ada, and again, I have no idea what size. Maybe I should get some of those out eventually. They're kind of out of style because they are so old that they're just not my taste anymore. This one, I believe, is Bent Creek, and the only reason that I think that is because it seems like I saw it on the wall of Shepherd's Bush, or I saw somebody post it on Instagram that they had done it. This is also on Ada. In fact, it looks like it is the exact same Ada as this one. It may have been the same piece, because back then I would just buy whatever was at the craft store, a big piece, and then cut it into my smaller pieces so that I would use the same fabric on a lot of things, which I'm not opposed to doing now. I just don't use Ada. Anyway, I don't remember where I have seen this since, but I've seen it somewhere, and it seems like it was Bent Creek. I should frame this one. This is kind of cute. I keep seeing things like, because I did cross stitch for a long time because I was really doing a lot of quilting, and the stores just, the craft stores around here don't have very much cross stitch stuff. They have some kind of basic things, but not really things that are my taste. And there's only 2 cross stitch shops in Utah that I know of. There's one in Salt Lake and then Shepherd's Bush in Ogden. And so anyway, we had kind of moved out of the area, so I wasn't close to either of those. And so I just didn't cross stitch for a long time. And I did some embroidery, but I didn't do a ton, because you could find embroidery stuff at a regular cross stitch store. But now that I'm doing it again, and there's Instagram and whatever, and I live fairly close to Shepherd's Bush, but I'll go up there and I'll see things on the wall, and I'm like, oh, I know, I did that. There's a few Lizzie Kates that I know I have done, and done for sure, but I have no clue where they are. So this one, and I told you guys this on Instagram, but I'll tell you it again if you don't follow me or didn't see it. But this one, I was working on, I've told you before, my kids are all adopted, all 5 of them. And I was working on this, it was June 26th in 2003. I used to teach elementary school. So I was home for summer vacation and working on it. It was a Thursday afternoon. It was a couple minutes after 4 o'clock. And we got a call about my oldest son. It was our caseworker calling to tell us that we had been chosen by a birth mother to adopt her baby, and she wanted to meet us that Saturday, and I've not picked this up since. And I've kind of just left it that way, because then I was in full baby mode, so excited after years of infertility, and just so happy. But it has never been finished, and it has been in this state ever since. I don't think I've picked it up once since then, except for maybe to take it out of the hoop. Okay, I have a couple Halloween ones. I don't remember. I remember this brand, and at the moment, I cannot remember what it was called. I think it was like, it may have been I Done My Best, but I can't remember. But this is one of them that I stitched for that. And these hearts are all French knots filled in like that. So I used to love to do French knots. I haven't done one in a while, but I used to love it. And I'm sorry if you can hear my loud children in the background. But all of these would have been done with DMC, because I did not buy fancy floss back then. Although I did for maybe like twice. And then this one, I think that this is the same brand as the other. It says, just a spooky little greeting to wish you happy trick-or-treating. It's got this witch with crazy hair and a little cap. And it's on, I mean, I was obviously going to do something with it, because I stitched it right onto the batting so that I could put it somewhere. But as you can see, it has probably been crumpled up and thrown in a bin. Well, it was for sure thrown in a bin, but it looks like crumpled up all these years. And then a few things that I did do and finish. This one, this is going through. There's much magic on this spooky night When Pumpkins Glow with Candlelight. And a lot of buttons. I used to be way into buttons. I don't love buttons now on things. And I don't know if part of it is just because I've been doing it so long that it kind of seems older to me. I don't know. And it doesn't bother me when other people use them. I just don't choose to. And yet again, this is all French knots. All of this jack-o'-lantern face here. And then my one and only Thanksgiving decoration that I've had, which really I love Thanksgiving, so I've been trying to get some more stuff. But see, this is what I mean about the lumpy. This is one that I stuffed myself, and you can tell that it's pretty lumpy. But, and again, that must have been a huge style back then, because all of my little filled-in things are French knots. So, there we go with that. A very lumpy pillow. Anyway, I don't put those things out anymore because I feel like my tastes have just changed enough that I don't. But I need to remember to save them and not send them off to the secondhand store when I'm done. I think I may have sent a bunch of my stuff to the secondhand store. I know at least one of them is hanging in my mother-in-law's house because she saved it. She must have it over there when I was de-junking or something. And I was like, well, you can just have this. And it's a big cross stitch that I did before my husband and I were married, probably like a year or so before. So it's probably like 19 or 20 when I did it. So it's probably 20 years old. And anyway, yeah, that's hers. It's hers now. But I'll take a picture of it next time I go, which I hardly ever go over to her house. She lives like 45 minutes away, but I feel like she comes here a lot. Or we have big things with she's got 8 kids total between my husband's family and his stepdad and his kids. There's 8 kids total. So she is up for, if she's not up here for one of our things, my husband has a brother that lives like a mile away, so she's here for theirs and then she'll stop by. So anyway, we don't get to her house that often, but next time I do, which may be Christmas time. Actually, I think we might be going there for Thanksgiving. We'll see. But I'll take a picture. Okay, so there was this store in Lehi, Utah. We used to live down there. Not in Lehi, but close, called Broadbent, and it was the coolest store ever. It was this little, I don't know, like kind of like a general store, and it had a quilting fabric section, and it pretty much had everything. Like it had some clothes in some areas, home decor, a little bit of furniture. Anyway, but they always had really cute quilt displays. So this is a tablecloth that I made, and as I'm looking at it, I'm seeing strings still. But this is a tablecloth that I made, and I believe it was out of a charm pack. And this would have been at least 10 years ago, because we've been in this house for 10 years, and it was when we were in our old house. But I would think it's more like 11 or 12. I can't get far enough away, I'm sorry, to show you the whole thing. But here it is, and the little baubles. And I put this out. I don't eat off of it. We use it as like kind of like a table runner. It doesn't cover my whole table. It's smaller than that by a lot. If you have like a little 2 or 4 person table, it would work, but I just kind of put it in the middle. But anyway, so this is my little Halloween table topper, I guess, more than tablecloth. And I made this quite a few years ago. And then and this was about the same time as I lived there. That one was from, like I said, Broadbent, the little kit to do it with. I think that is a charm pack, but I'm not positive. There's a store in Orem, Utah called American Quilting. And they have their own line of patterns called Under the Garden Moon. And I have quite a few things that I'll show you from there, especially as we get into Christmas time, because I made all of my family's stockings, and they are all Under the Garden Moon pattern. So I'll show you those when I get them out to put my Christmas stuff up, which will not be till after Thanksgiving. I'm a big stickler to that rule. Anyway, but they have a lot, at American Quilting, they have a lot of vintage fabrics or vintage looking type fabrics, and I absolutely love them. I was a huge fan of the 30s bead set fabrics, and I still love them. My girls have a whole bunch of them that they use all the time in different I don't have two that are the same, but I have different ones. But they kind of all go together because they're the same style of fabric, and scrappy is the, I love scrappy quilts. Truly scrappy quilts, not just a set that all goes together, but, you know, leftovers from other quilts. I love, love, love them. And so I have a lot of 30s style scrappy quilts. So this one is vintage Halloween trick-or-treating children. So I don't know how well you can see it. I wish, I did not think that when I held this up, I didn't even realize that I wouldn't be far enough away to back up to see the whole thing. But you can kind of get the general idea. So there's the trick-or-treating kids. And then I just did a scrappy border out of other Halloween fabric or fabric that would match Halloween fabric, coordinate with it. And then the border and my little striped binding. I always do the bindings by hand. I've never, as you can see right here, I've never machine done my bindings because I think it looks a lot better without them. And then I just do the miter corners. But I sew it onto the front so that it's, I fold the binding in half, sew it onto the front, and then flip it over and stitch it by hand. And there's my home, that's our home phone ringing. Our home phone, we will say is our cell phones, but we have our home phones so that our kids' friends aren't constantly calling us on our, anyway, so that our kids' friends are not always calling on our cell phones. But I feel like we're at the point where all we get is solicitors. We don't have real people calling us on there. Anyway, so I handed the binding. This is a stripe that I turned on the bias to do, which I absolutely love stripes and plaids on the bias for bindings. It is the cutest thing ever. And then I just did this fabric on the back. Most of my backings, because you have to buy so much fabric and it adds up for backs, I'll buy something from the clearance table and then do that, even if I don't really love it. Like this is one that I just wasn't excited about, but it coordinated with it and it was cheap. So that was what I did. But so anyway, Halloween quilt, you kind of get the general idea. And I wish I could show you better, but I can't scoot back any further. Okay, so now I'll show you my current stuff. I have mostly, like I said, I kind of freaked out about Halloween getting so close at the beginning of this month, and that I wasn't going to get my stuff done. So I have mostly been working on one project, and I'm going to try to do in January and February a finishing up season so that I can get all of my whips done and moving on. And I don't have that many whips. I think I have like 8 or something, but it makes me nuts to have unfinished stuff. Just crazy. Not this old stuff. I mean, if it's been long enough that I've kind of forgotten about it, it doesn't bother me, and that stuff I know I'll never finish. But it drives me nuts to have current whips. So January and February, my goal is to get all of these finished. And I will think of some hashtag for Instagram to do, and you guys can join me, showing me your outstanding whips. Okay, this one is Ghoul Tidings by Plum Street. And so this is right here. And I will have to look up the purple. I switched out her black dress and the writing to be purple because that's what they had on the thing at Shepherd's Bush. They had an example or a sample of this out, a model, and I loved it. So I have the called for colors for the most part, except for I did, because they had this darker fabric, I think it called for chamomile maybe for the green, and I switched it out to Wheat's Bullfrog, and then this is Grape Arbor. I think the purple I believe is Grape Arbor. I will let you know if that's not it. But anyway, this will probably be finished closer to January because I have to get this one done that I'm getting kind of tired of, that I'll show you in a minute. And not that I'm tired of the actual thing, I just want to work on something else, but I want to get it done. Because I feel like if I don't get it now, it won't ever get done, and that's, I think, what stresses me out about whips. Okay, this is Witch from La-Di-Da, and this is it. I did it in Weeks Dye Works Kohl. It calls for a silk. I don't have the back to it right now. Anyway, it calls for a silk, not that, but I just did it in Kohl. And I actually, if I were to do it again, I would probably just do it in black because I feel like I can't see a ton of variegation. Anyway, this looks like it would be just this little easy stitch, but it sure is taking a long time because of the skirt has so much lace, and I love, love, love the look of it, but it is not as quick as I thought it would be. Somebody else on Instagram just finished it. She said she used a whole skein just on her skirt. Anyway, I really like this one, but I may be switching out the 8 up here in the date for the 9. For a 9, because it may be 2019. I do love how it has the date and the initials worked into the pattern. I never date my stuff because I just feel like sometimes it disrupts the picture. But after talking to my mom about the stitches that she doesn't know if her grandma did or which grandma did them, I'm like, I've got to do it because I want to know now, and I don't have that, and they're dead, and so is my mom's mom, so there's nobody to ask to know who did them for sure. I have not worked very much on Harvest Keeper, which I'm kind of sad about because I really love this one. It's Plum Street Harvest Keeper, and I've gotten the bottom line there. Anyway, I really wanted to get this one done and kind of have it for a general fall piece. I am on the fence about whether the lady on here is a witch or just a person. But I really wanted to get this out and get it finished, and it doesn't look like it's going to happen because I started my huge Jack's Bash, which I'll show you. And I've mostly been working on it this month because I want to get it done because it's making me crazy because it's so big, and I'm afraid that if I put it away that I'll get sick of it and not want to bring it out next year. So this is Jack's Bash. So the only things I have left to do are this little floral border going up, finish the little planter down here, and then do my outer border. But it is taking me forever because there are a whole bunch of parts, and this little 1/1 right here took forever and a day, seriously. And I first had started doing the tent stitch, and to me, I felt like it didn't, like there were some places where it looked like I had skipped, but I really hadn't. I just didn't like the look of it. And so I pulled it out, and I think I had the first row and then through autumn down here done. But I pulled it out because I didn't like it. And there is still the tent stitch, where is it? Right here, the birth. So it says 31 October OCT and then OBER small. That's still the tent stitch, and I am not redoing it. But yeah, this took me forever. So there's 1/1 here, 1/1 here on this Happy Halloween up here. That is 1/1 too. And then in these little skulls in the planter, the eyes are 1/1. I don't know how well you, oh no, I guess it's the mouth right down there. And I have, what's it called? The Heritage Sampler, kitted and ready to go, and I was planning to start that in January. I think I need a break. It's the same size and very similar style to this, but I know that it also has a ton of over 1 in it, and so I've got to take a break. And this, my goal is to finish by Halloween. I am not putting it away at Halloween. I'm going to keep it up through Thanksgiving because it is Thanksgiving colors. There are no jack-o'-lanterns, and so I figure it can stay. There's pumpkins, but not jack-o'-lanterns. I have full plans to do my Thankful, Grateful, and Blessed for Halloween, or for Thanksgiving. It's not going to happen. I also made some little needle minders. I like to make my own. I've never bought one because they're kind of expensive for what they are, and they're so easy to make. So I found these they're from Jolie's Boutique, and then I just glued the little magnet on the back, and it works great. So anyway, next time you see me, this will be done. I feel like my kids are not cleaning their rooms still. I even gave them bribery. They could watch their favorite show when the room was done. And are they cleaning? No. Okay. Thanksgiving stitches. I worked very little on because I was so anxious to get Halloween done. This is Come You Thankful People Come from Bench Creek, and let me find my little Jonah. Have to go up in a minute. Yeah, so Come You Thankful People Come, or Thankful Quaker is what it's called. From Bent Creek. This is fabric that I got from Joann's, and I feel like it's stretchy. I ended up buying a little 6x6 Q-snap to put it in, and it is much, much easier to work on that way. But I've got to get this done. Once I get my Jack's Bash done, this is what I'm working on, and then my other one I bought. So in my church, every first weekend in October and first weekend in April, we have a general conference for our entire church, and it's broadcast on TV. And so if you have the BYU channel, it's on there. So anyway, it's 2 hours Saturday and Sunday morning, 2 hours Saturday and Sunday afternoon. So I got quite a bit of stitching done. I feel like I listen better if I'm stitching or working on a little project. So this was the project that I got for me to work on. It was Turkey Day by Plum Street. Oops. And I've got that much done on it. So I'm almost halfway. I haven't done the border, and then I haven't done, there's little berries on here. And then that's about, and the water. We've got one turkey, that's all so far. But, yeah, I've got to get it done. My kids think he looks like someone on one of their shows. But I can't remember who. No. One of the cartoons. They think he looks like a cartoon guy. I'll have to figure it out. It may be a Phineas and Ferb guy, but I can't remember for sure. I'll have to ask. It's my 7th grader that told me that. And I'll figure it out and let you guys know. But that's about all I have for right now. I did do the called for colors. I debated because most of my things don't have these bright colors. But when I saw this color down here, and Caribbean Waters, I believe is what it is, and I think it's Classic Colorworks. I loved it and wanted to use it because it was so pretty. But here we go. So hopefully I'll have more done on this too by the next time. And like I said, I'm going to be putting my Halloween away after I finish Jack's Bash, start working on this. And then I went to Home Goods today when my daughter was at ballet, and they have their Christmas stuff up, and it got me so in the mood for Christmas. So I may have to start Pomegranate Santa, finish my Little House Needleworks Christmas Village. I might need to get back to those after I do that. Plus, it's stressing me out to be so close to Halloween and not have those done that I may just decide to start on Christmas early. Anyway, follow me. I am the Silver Scissor Sews on Instagram. I would love to hear from you. Subscribe in the subscribe box, and thanks for stopping by.